Understanding trade tariffs, that is a topic of this video and an important one, assuming you want to be an informed citizen and an informed voter. Because if you're going to go out there and be active, which I hope you are, let's make sure that you're making your decisions with a full base of understanding. So this video is not going to be, this is what you should think about tariffs. It's just simply, here's what tariffs are, here are how they work, here are some considerations, and then throw it back at you, and I'll let you make that final decision and your developmental thought process towards them. Now, this all comes from a tweet that I saw out there, and like any politician, I mean, they weren't lying, but it's kind of, well, let's just get to it. So Stephen Miller says, a tariff is not a tax on every American. That's the income tax. So this is coming from an American angle, but this applies to any country you're in. So trade tariffs are just an economic policy that could be applied to any country. But in this situation, we'll just take the American angle. But this person says, hey, they're not a tax on Americans. That would be called the income tax. That's what gets every American. And that is true. If you're an American and you have an income, you know that that income is taxed. So far, yeah, he's being honest. A tariff is a tax assessed on foreign goods made by foreign labor. So there we go. We have our first insight into what a tariff is. And he's right. A tariff is a tax on another country. So if your country is, in economic terms, importing in some sort of good, well, then that good is going to be taxed. So sure, you as an American, it's not like you're getting hit with a tax. No. It's the people outside your country. It's the people that are shipping in that product. They're the ones getting taxed. So again, that is true. Under a tariff system, if you make it here and build it here, you pay no tax. Simple. Again, that is true. And the here refers to the USA. But if you're in a country and you're being told this, hey, if our companies in that country make it, they're not going to get hit with any tax. It's only the foreigners that are getting hit with the tax. So that's what's being laid out here. But this is where things, while all true, it's sort of taking an angle that's very surface deep, because the deeper question, if you want to understand and think about this in a more effective and kind of productive way, is, well, what is the effect of a tariff? So for example, what is the effect of the income tax? Well, we all know that. If you make $1,000, when you walk away at the end of the week with your paycheck, it's not $1,000, right? It's maybe $850. That is the effect of the income tax. If you go to the store and you see something for sale for $100, what's the effect of a sales tax? Well, the effect is when you get to the cash register, you're going to be paying more than $100. You're going to be paying more than what you see on that shelf of the for sale price. Well, we got to factor in the sales tax. So we all understand the effect of the sales tax. But what about the effect of a tariff? Well, let's walk ourselves through how they work, but more so put ourselves in the shoes of the affected party. In this situation, foreign businesses, right? Because they're the ones making product, shipping it into, in this situation, the United States. So let's consider that. And then by doing so, this will help kind of shed some light into the very realistic possibilities of how a tariff would affect things. So here we have FBB, and this stands for Foreign Business Bob. His name is Bob. He owns a business, and it is a foreign business. And then he is selling a product over here to the USA. So you have all these USA citizens, and he is selling them a product. And to just keep it really easy, look how creative I get. What is this product? A wooden block, okay? I am so creative. So he's selling a wooden block, and for whatever reason, wooden blocks pretty popular. But wooden blocks being sold to the USA. Now, from a business standpoint, what does business or Foreign Business Bob have going on behind the scenes? Well, that wooden block doesn't just appear out of nowhere. He's got to build the thing. He's got to manufacture it. So that all has a cost associated with it. And for example's sake, these are going to be very unrealistic, but here we go. So let's say the rent for his factory is $100 a month. Let's say he's got to pay utilities, and those are $50 a month. He's got some sort of insurance he's got to have, so that's another $50 a month. Of course, he's got, labor, and that's, employees, all that. So that's $150 a month. And then he's got some miscellaneous costs, and let's just call those $25. So in order to create that block, let's add that up. So let's see, that's $250, $350, $375. So $375 is Foreign Business Bob's total cost. Now, there's a big question we need to figure out for Foreign Business Bob. And that is, what is his time worth? What value does he put on his risk? Because remember, any business owner, any business of anything, there is risk associated with it because is people going to buy your product? Are they not? And there's no guarantee. Businesses fail all the time. That's the risky nature of starting a business. So Bob's got to figure out, what's my time worth? What's the risk that I'm putting in all this? What is that worth? And he's got to have a number for that. In other words, he's got to figure out some sort of suitable profit margin in order to, appease him for his time and all of his risk, but he's also got to keep the lights on. He's got to keep people paid. He's got to do all that stuff. He's got a lot of things to figure out. But let's just say, to keep the math as easy as possible, let's say for him is, for every wooden block that I sell, I need to make $100 per block. So if he wants to make $100, then what price is he going to have to charge his customers? Well, if we know the cost is $375, then nothing fancy here math-wise. Let's just add $100 because that's how much he wants to make. So that means that his price to the customers is $475. So right there, that's $475 for that block because again, at $475, if you subtract out all these costs, you will be left with $100. But now let's think about tariffs and those effects. And as that tweet told us, a tariff is a tax. So what does a tax mean, or a tax on who? Well, foreign business Bob, because he's a foreigner. So what does that tax mean for him? Well, think about that. What number is that going to add into foreign business Bob's calculations? Well, a tax is just simply another cost. And to keep everything easy, let's just say that the way the tariff breaks down, it is now going to be costing $50 per block. So every block is taxed. It's taxed at $50. So now foreign business Bob has got to pay $50 for every block that he sells. So what does that do to his cost basis? Well, now his total cost is no longer, $375. His new cost becomes $425, right? Nothing fancy here. His former cost was $375. There is now a new cost added in that trade tariff at $50, which that equates to now his new cost of $425. And this is the big consideration now. Does that have any influence in terms of Bob's motivation for that $100? Well, no, we've already discussed that for his time, for his risk, in order to keep his employees paid, and for all these other things, that needs to be $100. Tariff or not, it needs to be $100. But in this situation, there is a tariff. So because we're still saying that, well, even with the tariff, it needs to be $100, what does Bob have to do? What is Bob's consideration going to need to be if he wants to keep that at $100? Well, because nothing has changed, he still wants that $100. So he's just going to, let's just add the $100 onto my new cost. And what is that doing? Well, that's now got a cost of $525. So over here, it's no longer $475. It is now $525. So who is paying more all of a sudden? Well, everybody's paying more. Foreign business Bob, he is paying more because he's got to pay more on that tax. But what did he do? In business terminology, he passed that cost to who? Well, to his customers over here. So were these people over here, are they getting taxed? Well, no, not directly. They are not being taxed. But are they paying a higher price? Yes. Yes, they are. So they're not being taxed. That is true. But is the effect a higher price? Yeah, absolutely. And we just went through all the math. Now, I'm not saying it's this straightforward, but that's a very, very realistic effect of, when you have trade tariffs, because you're affecting those business owners' total cost. And if those business owners still want to make those numbers, you saw how, okay, now we just need to charge more. So the American customer, sure, they're not being taxed, but are they very realistically now paying a higher price? Well, yeah, that is true. So like I said, that's the word game that's going on is, yes, you could not call that a tax, but you could call it a price increase. And the price increase is a byproduct of the fact that the business owners now have a higher cost, and the higher cost is coming from the trade tariff that there's now needing to pay. So that is just something to consider. Maybe you sit there and say, yeah, that's all factually true. That's all factually possible, but I don't think that'll happen, or I think it'll be very minimal, or I think it'll be overblown. I think it could get really bad, or I don't think it's going to make any. Like I said, those thoughts are up to you, but I just want you to understand how a trade tariff is working, and that sure, it is not a tax, but not to focus on the semantics, but more so, well, what are the effects of it? What are the byproducts of it? And then, in my opinion, at least, you're gonna have a much better idea of, just forming a good quality, informed based decision. So I hope this helps. If there's any other questions on, how they work or understanding them, let me know down below. And I'd be more than happy. Or if you have any suggestions for other type of videos, if you found this one helpful, then by all means, comment down below. So that is a trade tariff. That's how they work. That's how they could potentially, unfold. And it's up to you now to make your final decision on it. But that's what I have for you. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions down below. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.